You're listening to the Whip Appeal Show hosted by Mistress Candy69 from the BDSM Alive Radio Network. Hello, hello, hello. It is Thursday, February 16th, 2023. We are Season 2, Episode 3 tonight. And I have an interesting show, kind of a couple of things I want to talk about on tonight's show. I'll probably only do the show for about an hour or so. It's a lot to talk about. And, you know, I kind of get tired. I work a long day today. So, I mean, next week I'm going to have a guest on. So, next week's guest in particular is an actor, a porn actor by his stage name is, ready for this one? Bobby Golden, okay? So he is a golden age era porn actor. And actually, I had the utmost pleasure of meeting him this past Exotica when I had gone with my friend Chris and some of my other friends to Edison Exotica, you know, in New Jersey. And I was hanging out with my friend Mike from ASN. You guys probably know him. He was on my I was on his network some years ago when I did my BDSM Alive show on ASN Radio Network. So it was actually Mike's birthday that weekend. So myself and Sir Lorenzo and a whole bunch of other people were at this like private little party. And I actually got to meet Sean Elliott there, which is pretty cool, Bobby Golden. So actually Sean Elliott and I have been chit-chatting the past few months. And a couple of weeks ago, I had asked him if he'd like to be a guest, and I would love to interview him. Because I know him in person. He's an absolute doll. He's a sweetheart. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, he is back in business, as one would say. So it's going to be really awesome for me to interview him live next week. So next Thursday night, live, Sean Elliott will be a guest on the Whip Appeal show with myself. And it should be interesting. We get to listen to him talk about his entire career and now his upcoming career also. So for anyone who doesn't know who he is, you can look him up on the internet. I have a very young photo of him in my lap right here on some paperwork. And, you know, it's funny. I know him now. And remember, in seeing him here, I'm like, wow. I had watched some of these movies that he was in. And it's kind of a funny story. My father was heavily into porn as I was growing up, and I would see all these like dirty magazines in the house and, you know, movies and VHS tapes labeled like Deep Inside Annie Sprinkle. He had Debbie Does Dallas 1 and 2, and I think there was a third one if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not 100% sure on that. So he, you know, Bobby Golden started when he was about 18 years old in the porn industry. And I think now he's about, I want to say 58, 59 maybe. So he's been in porn for a very long time. No wonder why him and I get along so damn well is because he's a Leo also. So it seems that Mistress attracts a lot of these fire signs, whether they're Leos or Sagittarius or Aries, all like good matches for Leos, you know, so it's kind of a good thing. So let's see, let's see here. Okay, you ready? He's 5'10" and he was 147 pounds. I don't know how much he weighs now. So when I get him on the show next week, we're going to go over all of his stats, okay? But the list of movies he has done is quite extensive, okay? So we got here, in 1982, he did or participated in the movie of Widespread Scandals of Lydia Lace. And actually, it's funny, when I met him, he was telling me about Lydia Lace, which is kind of interesting. He's also in Scoundrels from 1982. Another one from 1982 is called Peepholes. Interesting. I've looked in a couple of peepholes in my life. Kind of interesting, a peephole. You never know what you're going to find in a peephole. Mascara is another interesting. And I remember seeing this movie on a VHS tape in my dad's porn library. I remember seeing Mascara. I remember seeing Debbie Does Dallas 1 and 2. But Bobby, Sean, was actually in Debbie Does Dallas 2. Okay. Bobby Golden, I think, is the name that he used in there. But Debbie Does Dallas 2 was in 1981, and 82. So actually, I think it looks like his first movie of all time was Debbie Does Dallas 2 in 1981. Okay, so that was his first one, I believe. Then in 1982, I'm not sure of the order of them, but I know he did Co-Ed Teasers. Luscious is another famous one. Peepholes, Scoundrels, and Widespread Scandals of Lydia Lace. Okay. So these are all the movies he did in 1982. In 1983, he did Mascara. And 1984, he did Firestorm. And then he was kind of on a little hiatus vacation for a while. I guess he, got, married, personal life and whatnot. And then came back in 2007 with a movie called Latin Heat. So you got to check out his porn movies because, like I said, he's from the golden age of porn, which was, the 80s. So think about it, right? So he's a golden age porn star. He's known for a lot of these movies. And kind of interesting, Mistress became a little friendly with him, and he had agreed to come on my show and kind of chit-chat. It's funny, last night when him and I were talking on the phone, he's like, oh, what are we going to talk about? I said, anything and everything under the sun. He was actually laughing a little bit about it. So him and I are going to do the show next week, and we're going to have a lot of fun on the show. So it's a show you do not want to miss next Thursday night, okay? It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't know how long I'm going to have him on the air for, but I'm definitely not going to be taking phone calls when he is doing the show with me because I don't want to be interrupted, especially having such as a well-known guy in the industry on my show. I definitely am not going to be taking phone calls during my interview with him or him and I just general chit-chat. Like I said, I don't want to be annoyed, that I have to stop and answer the phone. So next week's show is going to be quite interesting. So make sure you stay tuned. And again, I'm going to be, promoting the shit out of this all week long on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and a bunch of other places, especially my website also. So, if you're kinky, you're into some, some fetish porn. Who knows? Maybe down the road, Mistress and Sean will actually film a fetish porn video. But I want to be the director of it. I want to have Sean and another woman there, and I want to be able to tell them what to do. So I'm like the evil, bad dictator in the scene, and I'm ordering this girl what to do with him, which is she'll be like the dungeon sex slave, and I get to give them both orders, which is kind of cool. Plus, I get to dominate the both of them. So that would be kind of like a good scenario. So, Sean, if you're listening to the show tonight, this is something that I would like to do with you guys. I would love to be in a fetishy BDSM type porn where I, dictate to you and another girl of or maybe I want to dominate it. But I don't know. I haven't decided what we can talk about it next week. How's that? We can talk about it on air. This way I have you can't say, I didn't say it. So anyway, kind of funny. But I hope everybody had a great Valentine's Day. Actually, I have to say, Mistress, for the first time in a very, 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 very long time, I had to throw all those berries in, actually had a awesome Valentine's Day for the first time in I can't even tell you how long. So you all know that I'm dating that young fella, right? So, of course, Mistress Candy is a cougar. I have a boyfriend who is 20 and a half years younger than myself, or not even a half, 20 and 3/4 of a year. So when Mistress turns 48 this year, I will technically be, well, it depends on how you look at it, 20 and 3/4 or almost 20. It looks like I'll be almost 21 years older than him, but it's not really. It's 20 and 3/4, like I said, but 20 years. So I'm labeled as a cougar, of course. So my young boyfriend, who is absolutely amazing, and actually yesterday was our 5-month anniversary, which was kind of cool. I didn't see him, but I did see him on Valentine's Day, and another reason why I stopped doing the show on Fridays is because every weekend, him and I are like glued at the hip together. So I usually go over to his, house and sleep over there and for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I basically live with him on the weekends, I guess is a good way to put it, for now anyway. And so we have a great relationship. And let me tell you, he is absolutely sweet. So a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if I had told you guys this, but a couple of weeks ago, I was at his house, and, I was in his bedroom or whatever, and as soon as I walked in the bedroom, I saw this ginormous Valentine heart-like candy thing there, and he was like, ah! And I made like I didn't see it, of course, and so he, like, hid it in his closet, right? So, couple of weeks go by, no, like, the weekend goes by, okay, whatever. Then the following week, I'm over there, and I go in his closet to get something, and I see it in the closet. So he was like, whatever. So then after that, that weekend that, he brings me back to, that Sunday he brings me home, he actually had come over the following day and brought me the heart candy thing with chocolate in it. It was a Russell Stover heart. It was pretty ginormous. I have probably never, the only person in my life who ever gave me a Valentine heart candy box this big was probably my father. And that was my father's been gone like almost 4 years now. So it was kind of nice to get like something kind of early. So he brings me home, and then the next day he comes over and he brings the chocolates. And I said, why are you giving these to me? He goes, well, first of all, you already saw them. Second of all, they're going to melt in my closet. So he gave them to me. So he gave me the chocolate probably like the end of January even, or maybe first week of February, but I didn't eat it right away. I actually, like, believe it or not, I had the box of chocolates for like two weeks. And then I finally, like, one night after I smoked the joint, I was like, wow, I need some chocolate. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. There's chocolate in my closet on the shelf that I never even opened. So literally, I had just finished them like 2 days before Valentine's Day. So I was like glutton for punishment because I was eating the chocolate for like a week and a half or 2 weeks before like Valentine's Day came. So, I was like, okay, whatever. That was really awesome. And, like I said, I didn't get that on Valentine's Day. I got it before Valentine's Day. And then while I was at work on, Valentine morning, I'm outside of my office waiting for, the doctor to come in to like open the door or whatever where I work, and, or my boss or whatnot. And I go up the stairs. Oh no, I go in the doorway, and in between, at the top of the stairwell to my job in front of the office, there's like this, like flowers, like over there on this thingy. And the lady was like, the lady who works in the hall, she goes, oh, some guy just came and he left flowers, I think, for somebody. I think it's you. And I said, really? So I go up and I'm like, oh yeah. So my wonderful, sweet boyfriend sent me beautiful red roses and this like other flower like arrangement thing to work. It was absolutely gorgeous, and it came with a teddy bear and it had this beautiful like little note on it. So of course made my day. And of course, it's kind of funny. I'm at work and I work with a bunch of women, and I'm really surprised none of the guys that like date these chicks that I work with got them flowers or like came to see them. Like, so I don't know. And then on another funny note, I have 2 male roommates, and kind of interesting story. One of my roommates gave me a bouquet of flowers for Valentine's Day. So I went from years and years and years of not getting anything from somebody who claimed they loved me so much, never even gave me a fucking card or anything for any holiday, mind you. This year, I went from like a 20 on the Richter scale, if I had to guess. I mean, my boyfriend's flowers, oh my God, they're absolutely gorgeous. And the teddy bear, of course, I love sleeping with it every night now. And then, of course, we had a great dinner here. I didn't want to go out. And we decided to fuck around for 3 hours. So Mistress had a really wonderful, loving, fun-filled, sexy night of Valentine's Day. It's a good way to put it. And so it was awesome. I had a great time with my guy. And but it was awesome. So I hope, a lot of you guys and girls out there had a kinky Valentine's Day. I hope you did something nice for somebody. Like I said, those flowers really made me feel special from my roommate and my boyfriend, of course. So pretty awesome. So thank you both, by the way. And so it's pretty cool. I have to say I had a great Valentine's Day for once in a long time. And, So the funny part about tonight's show is I was going to do a little bit more about, about upcoming things on the show. Like over the next couple of weeks, I'm probably going to have other, people come on the show, whether they're in the porn or fetish industry, or even like regular everyday people that want to call up and ask me like some questions, or it's kind of funny because when I'm out and about and I'm a very sociable person, right? So of course in my regular life I'm extremely sociable, very friendly. I will talk to strangers because that's like people say don't talk to strangers. Well, maybe when you're a child you're not supposed to talk to strangers, but adults, talk to people all the time, and it's not like talking to a stranger in particular, but so anyway, I'm very sociable. I like to talk to a lot of people. So when I'm out and about and I meet people in Uber, or I meet people at the gym, or I meet people at my job or something, somehow it always comes out that I'm, a dominatrix, and they kind of look at me and go, wow, that's pretty fucking cool. Then I get some people like, oh, really? So, and then I get other people, well, can I ask you a question? How did you get into that lifestyle? That's a very interesting question. How did Mistress become Mistress? Let's see, we have time for a little chat for all those who are just joining us for the evening, or those who may already previously know a lot about me, but had kind of forgotten. Shame, you've forgotten all about Mistress. Not a good. Anyway, I'm only kidding. Back when I was about, 15 or 16 or so, I had a friend at the time who, excuse me, I'm tired today. And I went for a massage, so I'm even more tired, because I'm extremely relaxed now. It was my first massage after I had my cervical fusion done 10 months ago. So, and I went to this little old lady who I know for years, this massage therapist, and she says to me, wow, I haven't seen you in a long time. I said, yeah, because, I had surgery, I moved away, but I came back to you because I know you give great massages. And she's like, oh, thank you, nice lady. I know this lady probably 20 years. This old little Chinese woman, and she's absolutely fantastic. And it's funny, I told her that my muscles were a little sore. So when she did the massage, she put some tiger balm on me, which actually she put it on 2 o'clock, and I could still smell it on my skin. So it's still working, which is pretty good, actually, because I was really she said I was really tight. I said, yeah, I know I'm tight. I had like surgery and I've been working out and working. And so I guess every like once a week now, I should really treat myself to a massage. Although I will say my boyfriend does an excellent job, and all I have to tell him, my neck hurts, and he just starts rubbing it for me anyway. So last weekend I had said to him, I said, do you like feet? And he goes, yeah. I said, well, I need a foot massage. So then he says to me, he goes, I'll rub your feet for you. So Sunday was it? I'm at his house and I'm sitting off the edge of the bed and he's like sitting in a chair. I kind of like, scoot my legs over to him. Actually, he was in a computer chair with wheels. So I kind of, my legs are long hanging off the end of the bed. So I kind of scooped him, like grabbed hooked my feet in the chair and like pulled him over to me. It was pretty funny. And I said, I really need a foot massage. So he said, okay. And he starts, of course, rubbing my feet. And it was great. And I gotta tell you, he gives great massages, my boyfriend. Oh, God. Very, very good. I don't have to ask him. He usually just does it, which is kind of nice. It's even funnier. I think to some degree he's subservient. Just like, even though he knows I do what I do, and, in the beginning he's like, oh, I don't want to do any of that stuff with you. So I said, okay, that's fine. We'll keep it separate or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like a few months later, he's like, oh, I want to try this, and I want to try that, and I want to do this. And I'm like, we could do those things. So, I let him try, like, certain things. And being, of course, getting into the story about how I became a dominatrix. It's kind of a funny story because my boyfriend actually was like, oh, I want to tie up a woman, and I want to, like, do this. So I let him do it to me because I wanted him to experience that because he's fairly young and he really never like did anything like that. So it's kind of funny. I was like his submissive for a night. So it kind of brought me back actually to when I was a submissive to a married couple. And when Mistress was like 15, 16 years old, like I said, we had this friend, me and my other girlfriend had this friend, and her sister was a dominatrix in the city, and she worked at Pandora's Box, the original Pandora's Box, and I think the Parthenon also. And I would go there a lot and this and that. And, the head mistress and master at the time, because they're like long dead. I think it was like Mistress Eve and Master George. I think they're like no longer there. They're probably like, passed away because they were like elder when I was younger. So this is how I know this. And kind of an interesting story. Like I hung around the dungeon for a while and just kind of, seen how things operate, so to speak. And then I had the opportunity, Mistress Eve one day said, oh, do you like what you see here? And I said, yeah, it's quite interesting. How do I get involved in such? And she was like, well, because she saw that, I was helping out, like cleaning stuff, and big mistake to do in a dungeon. Never clean anything, because of course then what happens, they make you become the house slave, and you're cooking and cleaning. So unless you really want to be in that lifestyle, then go clean a dungeon. That's what I just like you want. So I did that for, I don't know, like a year maybe. And then, I was like kind of watching other, older pro-doms do pro-dom sessions. And then, submissives and clients would come in, and these fellas would come in and say, oh, I'd like to see her, meaning me. And they're like, oh, well, she's in training. And they're like, oh, I don't care. I want to see her anyway. So, because they said I was beautiful and they were attracted to like my long legs at the time. So I did like a session with an older dominant woman who kind of like watched me, like I shadowed her basically. And then that's how I became a dominatrix. And then when Master George asked me to do something for him one day, I told him to go fucking do it himself. And he was like, okay, this one is no longer submissive. And just kind of like, and then after that, I kind of became a pro-dom and decided, was doing some pro-dom sessions here and there when I was like younger and stuff. So not so much there, but they would have house parties and, guys would come and, oh, I want a session with the young mistress over there. And at the time, they used to call me the porcelain domina because I was extremely white and pale. And that was my name back in the day, the porcelain domina. Before I was even Mistress Candy, which is kind of funny. So that's kind of another one of Mistress's well-kept hidden secrets from when I was a submissive to a slave to the married couple. But I wasn't, like a sex object for them because I was extremely young, and of course I would be underage and it wouldn't be a good idea. And of course most BDSM practices involving SSE, like safe, sane, and consensuality, and the RAC, the risk-aware consensual kink. So I was consenting to certain things, but I didn't consent to any sexual things. I was basically like a maid service to them and learning everything I could about the lifestyle because basic scenario. Growing up, I always was kind of like very bossy and dominant and would like make fun of boys after they would pick on me, and I would humiliate the shit out of them, like getting what they say, revenge is the dish best served cold. So getting revenge on these boys who used to bully me when I was like in school and stuff. And then, going like working and seeing all these things done at these dungeons, it was underground then. It wasn't like, it was like out in the open like it is today. And basically, just kind of, doing XYZ. And, finding out real quick that I wasn't submissive enough for them. They were like, yeah, she's definitely a dominant streak. And then they had asked me, like, after a while, when I started, like, talking back to them, what my sign was. And I told them I was a Leo, and they just kind of laughed. So it was like, Leos are very dominant to begin with, or most of them are anyway. I know I am, and it's not something I can just turn off either. Even in my vanilla life, it's funny, I work with a group of really interesting people, okay? And yesterday in my office, I'm in the dental field, okay? So I work with a bunch of doctors and assistants and different arrays of people, all walks of life. And yesterday was kind of busy. We were like getting bounced around, like we're walking into people in the office. So I kind of made a funny comment. This woman that I work with, she goes, what did she say to me? She goes, you're getting like knocked around and banged around in here. So I looked at her, and in front of everybody in the office, including some patients who I knew that were there, I said, I love to get banged around. The one doctor who I work with literally was turned beet red. And I could see him, like, smiling under his mask, and he started laughing and then just shook his head. Like, I seem to get a lot of that because, I'm very unique. I don't keep my mouth shut, that's for sure. I'm very vocal. I'm very, dirty-minded personality, of course. I can't shut that off either. It's just naturally. So, it's funny. Someone that I know from my past would say, you and your sexual innuendos. Yeah, that's who I am, damn it. And if you don't fucking like it, too goddamn bad. Because again, I can't shut that shit off. That's just who I am. That's what makes me me. So I think this person didn't like this about me because he was extremely jealous and riding my coattails for years and has no personality or no thing of his own. Or people who kind of do that to other people are usually people with no lives. They can't be themselves. They don't know how to be themselves. So they try to be something they're not. And then they try to, cut you down and knock you down and make you feel shitty. Well, I'll tell you what, no motherfucker on this earth is going to make me ever feel like that again. I'll tell you that right fucking here and now. Mistress puts her fucking foot down. You don't like my sexual innuendos? You don't have to fucking listen to me. How's them apples? Be quiet and mind your business. That's what I always tell people. Mind your business. Or it's none ya. None ya what? None ya fucking business. I don't know. I can be brazen at times, let me tell you. Very brazen, very abrupt, speaks my mind, speaks the truth, and doesn't sugarcoat anything, okay? So, you've been listening to me on the airwaves since, when I first started on the airwaves was back in 2011 when I used to be a resident dominatrix on this heavy metal radio show that was sponsored by Sam Ash Music. It was called Hellraiser's Ball. And my very good friend, JC Viper Casola, or JC Casola, he goes by the name Viper, that's his nickname. He was the host of this awesome show, and they would actually have, like, it was in Pinellas Park, Florida, I think it was, or Tampa area, and it was sponsored by Sam Ash Music, and it was really cool. I was actually the resident dominatrix on that show, they used to call me up. They would have a whole studio full of bands and people that they met in public, and whoever did, like, lewd behavior, or they were, like, having, like, discrepancies between the bands, they would call me up to punish people. So my job on air was to punish the bad musicians for doing heinous things, okay? So, and I think the first time one of those shows aired on YouTube was they were in the studio, and they had called me on the telephone because I wasn't able to go at that time. I think this was like a big snowstorm where I lived in upstate New York. So I had no choice but to appear by telephone. But it was really cool because they actually, if you Google Hellraiser's Ball, a couple of things will come up. It'll say the first airing of MistressCandy69. That's a show that you want to listen to because that really shows you how I am in person and how my personality is. So it's pretty much the same as it is now, although now I'm doing my own thing. But it took me, I've been on the radio airwaves since 2011, okay? So what year are we in, 2023? I would say that's a pretty long-ass time, okay? It's probably, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think it's like, I want to say like over 10 years already. Maybe 11, 12 years. Maybe I'm not great with math. So that's always Mistress's weaknesses is guys with long hair and math. Okay? So like I don't know. Like that's like one of my, like, it's like kryptonite for Superman. I really can't tell the difference if it's, just math. Math sucks. Like, I would prefer if we, like, have a calculator for everything. Because I just really can't do the math part. The whole math part is like, forget it. So let's see. I'm going to actually do the math on my phone so I don't look like an idiot while I'm chatting with you wonderful folks online tonight. And oh my God, it is so hot in my house. I am literally sweating to death. So what did I say? 2011, right? Oh, no. Here, I got to do it this way. 2023... take away 2,011. So it was 12 years ago. So I have been on the airwaves for 12 years. So all you wonderful folks out there get to listen to my sexy voice for the past 12 years and more, because I'm still going to be doing this. I'll probably do this show until like the day I die. Why not? It's awesome. I'm going to be having so many fun things happening on here the next couple of weeks and months. So, of course, that's going to be, like, really, really good. And, I want to get other I always ask dominatrixes if they'd like to come on the show and give, me an interview, talk a little bit about themselves. I particularly enjoy getting another female dominance perspective and opinions on specific topics. So if you're listening to the show tonight and you'd like to call in to be a guest on the show, you can shoot Mistress an email on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook and tell me that you want to be on the show, and we can set up a time and a date. And, if you're not available on the time and date of the actual show, we can do a pre-recorded show that can air at another time. So that's always an option, too. I always like to give people options because, if you say, like, most, like, mistresses like myself, say this, do it, and that's it. No, I like to be a little flexible and give people the option if they want to come on, that I always can, like, schedule something for them. I'm willing to work with whoever wants to be on. So, and of course, Mistress is planning to go back to Exotica in Edison this year. But I think it's in November, I think. I'm not 100% sure. If you're looking to go, you might want to buy tickets ahead of time. It's, I think it's November 3rd to the 5th, and it's at the Raritan Convention Center, or 96 Sunfield Avenue in Edison, New Jersey. So you want to check out www.exoticaexpo.com, and I think they have a couple of shows coming up in the next couple of months. I think in like Miami, and they used to do Chicago, so I don't know if they still do that one, but I've been to that one like twice, a few years back. It was pretty awesome. They basically are all the same, but they have different environments, you know? Different environments and different people at each one, so it's pretty cool. And actually, I want to give a shout out to Rita Daniels. So Rita, I saw that you made a post on Instagram. I'm looking forward to seeing you up and about and, you know, kind of getting back into the swing of things, so to speak. And, of course, people have been asking about you. So whenever you're ready, you're going to come on the show. And it'd be awesome, you know. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to play Rita's intro right now. I think I have it. Oh, here it is. So this is the intro that me and Sir Lorenzo came up with for her show in the Cougar Zone with Rita Daniels. And believe me, Rita, when you are ready to come on, I will be your first guest because I know what it's like to be a cougar. You know, like I said, I'm almost 48 and my boyfriend just turned 27. And I've been with him 5 months. So actually when him and I were first dating, he was 26 years old when I was 47. So pretty interesting. Some may say that I'm trying to rob the cradle, but he is an adult, so it's not like, you know, I'm going for, like, the really young ones, you know. I mean, I still, too, have standards myself, and, you know, it's kind of funny. My cutoff is usually 26, 27, so it's kind of interesting when I had first met this fella. You know, his I'm not going to say where I met him, but like the thing I had talked to him about, and he's like, yeah, I'm almost 27. I said, oh, when are you going to be 27? December. At the time, it was September, so I was like, all right, you know what? He's like already 27. But it still felt pretty good to me to, like, you know, date somebody who was, like, again, way younger than me, and who actually has a lot of stamina, which is amazing, which is great, because he's young. And, of course, I can definitely keep up with the guy. So it's not like, you know, I'm like this older, sluggish woman. Because believe me, that's not the case. I'm pretty much in shape. Even though I had the cervical fusion done. Remember, guys and girls, this time last year, I wasn't doing the show yet. I had come back on the air. I think it was March 15th or something like that. Or March 19th. I had started a new season. I had started the show, the Whip Appeal, last March was the return of Mistress Candy because I had been off the airwaves for a few months. I was having some issues with my old co-host and whatnot, and that person was extremely jealous over anything I did without this person. So when me and this individual broke up, you know, I was getting messages from people going, oh, how come you're not doing your show anymore? And I said, why? And they're like, well, that's bullshit. You're the host, not him or not them. And, you know, you should really. So I went back to doing the show and I got like ridiculed for it because, you know, he thought he was like, you know, Mr. Shit. Yeah, you're Mr. Shit. You're Mr. Piece of Shit. And I wouldn't do anything with you if my fucking life depended on it. So I have to say, one thing I will say is my numbers have dramatically increased for the best part now that my co-host is gone. You know, I've been thinking about it. I've been doing the shows now for almost a year by myself, which honestly I like so much better. And I have to say, I love all the feedback that I get from the submissives and all the people, like my fans and followers on social media that tell me they listen to the shows and they're so much better. And I agree they're much better. I don't have this annoying fucking cock-sucking cross-dresser fucking talking over me and trying to steal my fucking thunder. So, I mean, I don't know what it is with cross-dressers. And look, I'm not saying, you know, transgendered people. I'm talking about men who wear panties and want to be fucked like women when they have tiny little dicks between their legs, okay? Like, these guys are pitiful excuses for men. They, they're just very needy, and it's always me, 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 me. That's not how this fucking shit works. So it's kind of funny. After that whole ordeal, I have decided that I'm never ever going to play or talk to a cross-dresser in real life sessions or anywhere ever again. Because, I mean, look, I'll speak to you like on FetLife or Messenger or whatever, but don't ask me for a pro-dom session. I'm not interested. I refuse to see needy cross-dressers like that, especially bisexual ones. I have no desire to hang out with such imbeciles, as one would say. And I'm sorry to say this, but this is how I feel, because I was actually abused by one for a very long time who claimed to be submissive and really wasn't, obviously. Typical sissy crossdresser syndrome, topping from the fucking bottom and, become bullies and the whole fucking 9 yards. So, I don't mind doing, like, phone sex with a cross-dresser or a sissy, but playing with you in real life I'm officially called it quits. The type of sessions that I enjoy doing now are foot worship, ball busting, spanking, paddling, whipping, cropping, corporal punishment, bondage, violet wand, cupping, fire cupping, all sorts of shit. But I just refuse. I mean, if you want to come and dress up for me and, like, have me beat the shit out of you, I'm fine with that. But don't ask me to, like, parade you around on a leash, because it's not happening, number one. And number two, don't beg for a collar, because you ain't fucking getting one. I really don't really want to own another submissive right now. I actually still own my slave Paula, and I've owned him for the past 15 years. On and off. So actually, and him, I talk to here and there. I see when I see. He's also been very sick himself. And I know his wife has been ill. So between the two of them, they're like batting 1,000, So, I really haven't seen him all that much. So Paula, if you're listening to the show, Mistress misses you, and you better call me, because I've been calling and texting you, and I hope everything's okay. I'm kind of worried about you, actually. So if you're listening to the show tonight, please reach out to me. It's been like a while. I think the last time I got a text or a call from him was probably like a month ago. So I hope he's all right, because I know he said he had something on his intestine, like a spot that he had to have removed, and I haven't heard from him since. So it kind of makes me a little worried. You know what I mean? But other than that, look, he's disappeared a few times before and has come back, so I'm not really that worried, although I kind of am and I'm kind of not. But he knows where to find me, so it's kind of funny when he wasn't my slave for a year or 2 years even. No, at that it was almost, when was it? I took him back, I want to say April of 2020. I actually tracked him down. And he said that he's never had a mistress track him down like that. And so he came back to me, of course. But before that, he was missing for 2 years. I thought something had happened to him with the pandemic, because he's older. And, thank my lucky stars, nothing had happened to him. So, that's a good thing. But out of all the slaves and submissives I've ever owned in my life, Slave Paula is the most loyal slave I have ever had in my life. He does exactly what he is told. He's a cross-dresser, but he's straight. So I don't have to really worry that he's going to top from the bottom, because, like I said, he's a genuine slave. He's not some, person that's in this lifestyle for himself, which is a plus. And he knows his place. So I don't really have any problems with him, I don't mind hanging around or playing with straight cross-dressers, like guys who want to, like, get girlfriend experience, like they need help dressing. I have no problem doing that, but again, I'm not walking you on a leash and I'm not fucking you with a strap on. So, And I'm not taking you to the glory hole either. That's something you can do on your own. All that shit, like, fucking disgusts me, to be quite honest with you. So, so I've had a very interesting life, with my BDSM career, starting out as a slave, then becoming a mistress, being taught the correct way. So at least, when I have a slave or a submissive in front of me, I know what's right and what's wrong, because I've been trained in both fields of the dark arts. So, I guess it's safe to say you can't pull the wool over my fucking eyes, because I know a bullshitter when I see one. I know somebody who's not submissive just based on how they write to me. Let me tell you, I've been in this lifestyle for about 32 years now, and it just gets better and better each year as it goes along. So, I'm what you call a seasoned veteran in BDSM. I've seen it all. I've heard it all. You can imagine, I'm sure you can imagine some of the stories and things that I have seen with my own eyes, okay, in the 32 years, almost 33 years that I've been a dame. So, I guess it's safe to say, how many of you out there have actually done some of the things I have discussed, whether you're a cross-dresser, or a sissy, or you're sucking dick behind your wife or your girlfriend's back and pretending to be straight. That's the sad fucking part. Just admit you're a fucking homosexual already. Like, and I'm not saying this to be mean. For where I come from, there's no such thing as bisexual. Now, people can label themselves however they choose, but I will be very honest, and this is the truth of the matter here. And this is my opinion only, and other people may not feel as strongly as I do, but I feel definitely strongly about this. I've never met a bisexual that actually told the truth. They're all fucking liars, every single last one of them. I've never met a sissy or a cross-dresser that wasn't a liar. So, I don't know, like those types of needy type submissives, needy personality are usually individuals that came from fucked up lives growing up. The mother or father was a narcissist, and the children became narcissists because of the narcissistic abuse that they lived from their own parents. So I find that most of these, now I'm getting deep into the psyche of some of these, sissy cross-dressers that appear to be all, I'm very submissive and I know my place, but then 5 minutes later you're like screaming and yelling at your dominant and telling them that they can't do something. That is not a fucking sub. That's not even an alpha sub. That's a fucking bully. That's a narcissist. And that's somebody who's in the lifestyle for themselves. So, I did some shows in the past where I talk about narcissism, narcissists and narcissism in relationships, especially BDSM type relationships, where, in the past, some submissive I had some problems with in the past, and he actually was a well-known offender of becoming needy and topping from the bottom. That's a good way to put it. Myself and other dames in the lifestyle had talked about this individual. Wouldn't be a show if I didn't smoke pot. I had to do that, sorry. And taking a nice big hit here, so that's good. Get to relax a little bit. But a lot of, I forget what I was going to say now, a lot of these people in this, lifestyle, they are submissive, but then what happens is, you enter into a BDSM dominant submission type relationship with the mistress or master that doesn't give you the right to control the relationship. The dominant is the one that does that. And again, that's topping from the bottom. And I used to think it was a submissive's or so-called sub's way of testing the mistress or master. Well, you can take that fucking test and shove it up your ass. How do you like them apples? Because, again, if you want to be in my good graces, topping from the bottom, I could smell it before you even open your mouth. I am so trained at realizing who's who in this lifestyle and who isn't. And it's kind of interesting. I guess to some degree what I'm trying to say is because I've been in this lifestyle a long time, I'm good at reading people's body language. as a dame, I also have to, get into the submissive's head on a psychological level. So it's of course you're trusting your dominant with your life, basically, and vice versa to some degree. Because, you have to be, it has to be agreed upon between the two parties. And when one party doesn't hold up their end of the bargain and decides to do something else, it's really not fair. So, this is why there's, rules and boundaries that have to be set from the beginning. So that's why I just decided, the rest of my career, I will only do phone sex domination on Night Flirt and Talk to Me for sissies and cross-dressers. No more in-person real sessions. I'm not doing it. But what I have been getting a lot of requests for lately is fart fetish sessions, where fellas want to pay me top dollar for me to eat gassy food and blow farts in their face and fart in their face. So think about that, guys. Hoo. Some of you are probably sitting at home going, really? Believe it or not, there are guys that get off on listening to women fart and the smell of their farts. Pretty fucking disgusting, right? But for somebody who thinks it's disgusting, I actually find it to be fucking hilarious. Look, I've done this fetish. I know what it's all about. I've walked up to, actually, when I used to be married, my ex-husband was kind of sort of submissive. Not really, but he was willing to kind of go with the flow because he knew I liked to do that stuff. So one night I had him in bed, and this is when we were married, and I decided to, do a Dutch oven with him, where he was laying there and I pulled the blankets all the way up and I literally had a lot of gassy food. So I was farting a mile a minute, and I was laughing hysterically, and then I suffocated him with the blanket. So he had to breathe in my noxious gassy fumes. And at first he thought it was disgusting. And then after a while he kind of laughed about it. Then he got mad about it. Then he laughed about it. And then he goes, wow, I don't know why, but that shit makes me horny. Again, you never know until you try it, okay? So I thought it was just a one-time deal, but apparently every time I farted in his general direction after that, he apparently got an erection. So it looks like my ex-husband had a fart fetish. Now, you want to talk about farts, okay? Mistress is going to share this personal story, and then she's going to say goodnight for the night. Back to Valentine's Day. So me and my hot boyfriend are in my apartment here. And, of course, Mistress, we had Chinese food. And honestly, normally when I eat Chinese food, I don't normally get gassy. But for some reason, I was gassy. So when my lovely guy and I were having sex in the bed. Now, mind you, this scenario happened to us when we were first dating also. So it's kind of ironic, but funny at the same sense. So for those of you who have a fart fetish, this is right up your fucking alley, okay? So my boyfriend and I were first dating. We were having sex. I lived somewhere else at the time before here. And, of course I'm getting all hot and bothered and I'm ready to come. And all of a sudden I fart in bed, right? This was the first time. This was back in September. So my guy, of course, him and I are fucking laughing hilariously, hysterically. And up until a couple of weeks ago, we still would laugh about it, right? So now Valentine's Day comes and goes, basically, the other day, and he's here for, a few hours, and we had, multiple sex that night, probably 3 or 4 times in one night, right? Which is not unusual. Him and I are always fucking each other, so it's not and we have sex multiple times, and sometimes, he comes and just keeps going. He just, he's like an Energizer bunny. That's why I like them young guys. Because, the old guys, or the guys that I kind of used to date in the older age, they come once and then they fucking fall asleep. And then they can't get it up for hours later. So who the fuck wants that shit, So, alright, so back to the funny story here. My love and I are having sex on Valentine's Day. And, of course, I don't know, lately, without anything, and this is a true story, my guy has been able to make me squirt quite a bit, okay? So it works best when I'm on my back, apparently so. So I'll share that with you guys and gals. So I'm literally like squirting, and of course my bed is all fucking drenched. Like, honestly, I should just like get like a tarp or a raincoat and just put it on the fucking bed, because it's like a super soaker. And with that being said, so we're having sex, and of course I accidentally fought the other night. So he starts laughing, right? Of course I start laughing too, and then it was just like a whole fucking night of laughing. So that was the first time. The second time we had sex, probably like a little while later, I farted not once, but again twice, okay? So it was really like, at this point I'm like, oh God, I'm like, I should just fucking get up and like go out of the room and like fart in the hallway and like come back in. But my luck, it would echo in the walls, you know what I mean? So it was just, you know, not really a good thing. So kind of a hilarious thing. We go to have sex again, and I farted again. So now I farted either 2 or 3 times on Valentine's Day night, right? And then, like, so, of course, my guy and I are fucking laughing at the whole fucking thing. It was hilarious. And, you know, I guess to some degree you had to kind of be there, but it was like every time him and I talk about it, we just laugh. And you know what's kind of funny? People that I know from my past would be like, oh, you're so childish. Or you talk about farts like a 13-year-old boy. Yeah, you know why? Because that's one of the fetishes that I enjoy giving to submissive men, is the eproctophilia fart fetish. What is a better way? Look, if somebody wants to pay me whatever amount of money per hour for me to fart in their face, I'm fucking game for it. Somebody wants to pay me to rub my feet, I'm all game for it. Well, they say, fuck you, pay me, right? That's the term, fuck you, pay me. Give me a tribute and I'll give you my fucking time of day. Fuck you, pay me. How do you like them apples? Like, so, I mean, those are for the people that, like, you know, they want to see you for the session. Some of them have a financial domination fetish where they'll pay you for the session and then, like, they'll take you out to the store and go shopping and spend tons of money on you. That's I like that too. That's like good. That's like girlfriend experience, like where I dress you up as a cocksucking whore or whatever, and then we go out and you spend money on me like I'm your second wife. You know, so I mean, it's a, what do they call it, a cash fetish, where they take you out shopping and they let you just kind of, you know, financially devour them. But, you know, I haven't really done any of those. I haven't, the last time I think I did a session like that was probably like 12, 13 years ago even, maybe even longer than that. So, to each his own. What they say, everybody has a fetish, what's yours, right? Think about that. Think about that. Everybody has a fetish, what's yours, including vanilla people, okay? Some may say they have a fetish or they have a superb, insatiable appetite for sneakers. Like, I have this friend, she's vanilla, and she collects shoes and sneakers. Like, she has, like, her whole closet's filled with all different types of shoes, all different colors and everything. So one would say she has a shoe fetish, right? I think so. So me and my friend were talking about it one day, and I said, oh yeah, Miss Vanilla with her shoe fetish. And she starts laughing. She goes, what do you mean? I said, you have a shoe fetish. You're addicted to buying shoes. Whether you wear them all or not, you have a closet full of shoes. Like, she was almost like Sarah Jessica Parker from Sex and the City with all the shoes this woman had. Similar type behavior. And, you know, and I tell her, I said, listen, you got a shoe fetish. It's all right. I'm like, you know, you could probably sell some of them shoes and make a lot of money. I'm like, you could wear them once or twice. And those fellas who have, like, a stinky foot and shoe fetish, you could even sell a pair of your dirty sweat socks. Like, I even wore, like, a pair of socks once for, like, a few days, so they're really stinky and disgusting. And I sold them to somebody for $50. The pair of wretched socks. Don't ask me what these guys do with these socks, but who knows? They probably put it on their dick as like a sock puppet or something. But like other than that, they probably come in my socks too. But whatever you do with my dirty used socks is none of my business. Now yours, because you have them, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, these are all like these thoughts that like run through my head. So fart fetish, shoe fetish, financial domination fetish. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There's like just every show that we do, or I do, my network does, is going to be like based on all these different types of fetishes. Now, I am incorporating, the porn aspect where I'm bringing on some, famous porn stars because they're friends of mine. And I would like for everyone to kind of get to know them again, like kind of bring them back into, the world, so to speak, and bring them into the kink world. And, of course, I'm going to ask Mr. Elliot over there if he's ever done any kind of spanking or any type of, tease and denial with a woman during a porn, stuff of that nature. Has he ever tied anyone up during a scene? Like, I'm going to have a really hot interview planned with him. So hang on to your dicks and clits and tits for next week. Oh, that was funny. Or they say slits and tits. Slits and tits and dicks. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, Mistress is pretty tired, and I'm pretty hot in my apartment. I think I need to go outside to get some air, because I'm, like, dying in here. I feel like I'm in Total Recall when they turn the fucking air off. But before I go, though, I am going to play Rita's intro, and then I'm going to say goodnight. So you're going to listen to her intro right now.
You're entering into a new dimension. A dimension of sound, of sight, of mind. You're moving into the land of both pussy and cock, of lube and vibrators. You've just crossed over into the cougar zone.
Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to her intro, because that's what she's going to play when she comes on the radio airwaves soon. Rita, I miss you. I hope you're doing great. Actually, I saw your post. You look like you're doing a little bit better than you were a few months back. And so stay kinky, my friends, and be on the lookout for Rita Daniels joining the BDSM Alive radio network soon. And next Thursday, I am going to have Bobby Golden on, aka Sean Elliott, and please, you don't want to miss that show, so stay tuned for that. That's a golden age porn actor that's going to be on the Whip Appeal show, so I'm pretty excited about it. So I want to say goodnight to everybody, though, and tune in next week, please do. It's a show you don't want to miss. It may be a little hot and heavy at times. Who knows what questions I'm going to be asked by him, and who knows what kind of questions I'm going to ask him. You never know. It's no holds barred on my show, as you know. And, everything is just as it comes, naturally. So thanks for listening. I want to thank Blitzkid for allowing me to use your song, She Dominates, for my show for the past 5 years. And I want to thank our sponsor, Spunk Lube. And if you are wanting to have sex or any type of sex and you need a good lubricant, spunklube.com. Check them out. They have all different kind of lubes, all different types of usage. They have edible ones. They have ones that can be used as lotion. They have green, pink, orange, and all different. Even they have one that looks like cum. It looks like spunk, so that's why they call it Spunk Lube. So check them out. And thanks for listening, and I hope you all have a great, great night.